let's talk a little bit about ethics in primitive archery, and this is going to be a touchy subject, mostly for the modern guys, the compound hunters, because I'll probably say some things that will aggravate them, and it's not to hate on them at all, but it's to kind of just prove a little bit of a point or even a theory that I have. Um, I hear from a lot of, well, maybe not a lot, but I've heard from several compound guys or modern archers or even gun hunters that look at what I do and they say that it's unethical, or they'll even go as far as to look at my bows and my arrows and stuff. And I had one really arrogant guy called it cute and told me that I would never kill any deer with it. Well, little did he know that I've got quite a collection of kills under my belt with that same stuff, a lot more in fact than he has with his compound. But that's where a lot of ignorance comes in the hunting world, that people think that if we don't do it the way that they do it, or if we're not using modern techniques, that we're not being ethical. You know, thinking that we're running out into the woods and shooting at deer under the same circumstances that they are, and that we're losing them because our equipment is so-called inferior. So let's just talk a little bit about what makes a primitive archer ethical and what makes one unethical, and compare that to some modern archery as well. As far as ethics go, this is a collection of retrieved stone points from some of my primitive kills. It's not all of them. It's all my stone kills, but it's not all my other primitive kills with, you know, steel trade points and stuff. But if it was unethical to kill deer or hogs or anything with primitive equipment, I would not have been able to stack up a display case like this with successful kills. Some of the things that make primitive hunters more ethical is that we know our boundaries when hunting. The unfortunate part is with a lot of the compound guys, compound hunters or even some of the modern traditional hunters are just getting started doing it. Most people, and I wouldn't say all, but I would say most people start off bow hunting with compounds or laminated recurves or what, and a lot of times people, you know, regress in technology as they get more efficient in their hunting because they're looking for a little more satisfaction or enjoyment in hunt. They want more of a challenge. And no, I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying that all compound hunters have no idea what they're doing, unethical, or don't know how to hunt. So stop being so sensitive and pipe down! But basically what I'm saying is a lot of these new guys think that they want a compound so they can shoot as far as they possibly can. Like, that's the goal, is to get the kill. And a lot of times with these new hunters, they're signing up to hunt with a bow simply because it allows them another month or two a season that gun hunting does not offer. So this way they can say, well, I can be in the woods hunting, and to me getting the kill is the most important part. So where they're used to shooting 200 yards with their rifle, they're thinking that they're at a great disadvantage with a bow, and therefore in their mind they're thinking, I need to be able to shoot as far as I can possibly shoot. And for many people that's 40, 50, 60, even more yards. Primitive hunters, and again I'm not going to say all, but most of them are experienced people. You know, we've been on the hunt quite often, and we've kind of been through that learning curve, and we kind of learned that those shot distances, you know, we're going to start shrinking that distance. To our kind of people, primitive hunting is more about getting close and making a good ethical shot. I still see some early primitive hunters getting into it that still have some of that traditional mindset of saying, well, I can shoot 20-25 yards with my primitive stuff, and yeah, I can be really accurate at 20-25 yards. But the more experience you get, the closer you end up liking your shots to be. And that you never really seem to get to that point with a compound. People that hunt with a compound never say, well, I always wait till they get 10 yards or less to shoot. They're still stretching them out as far as they can, you know, and of course that's it is kind of speculative, me not being a compound guy, and I hope not to offend too many of the compound guys. I'm sure some of them will get on this video and rip me anyway. But me being a primitive archer and having success, I've learned to bring my shot distances way closer. You know, I'm talking 6, 7, 8 yards is what I want to shoot. And I pride myself on being a primitive archer, on not being, not having to shoot far, but rather I am better at getting close to the animal. I'm a lot better at stalking. I'm better at setting up my ambush locations. And that's what I pride myself in. I can go on the range and shoot far and make myself feel good about being accurate at a far distance if I want to be. But I pride my hunting ability not on my long range shooting, but on my ability to get close to the animal. Some people have talked about, you know, the primitive bows not being fast enough to, you know, effectively kill animals, or that stone points don't cut well. And this kind of stuff is based on ignorance for the most part. The people that have not done it, or have not been successful doing it, I know there's probably many people that have tried and that have failed, because it's, truthfully, it's not as easy as it sounds. And some people will say, oh, it's just as easy as any, you know, shooting anything else. But if it was that easy, wouldn't we all be doing it? I mean, this is why we do it. It's for more of a challenge. It's not easy to do. There is a lot of trial and error that goes into it. Your stone points need to be really sharp. The transitions need to be good. And we talked about this in an earlier video, primitive archery versus crude archery. Things need to be ironed out, and you need to have a good shooting set when you do it. Now, when you have a good shooting bow, a good hard shooting bow, arrows that fly true, good sharp stone points with smooth transition. What I'm saying is, when you have everything working together and you've got a good shooting set, there is no reason that you can't effectively and efficiently kill deer with that type of equipment. I mean, I've proven that with all the kills that I've gotten. I have never, ever, ever passed a stone point through the lungs of a deer and lost it. I have always, always retrieved the deer. And that's not to say that I've never made a bad shot. Unfortunately, that is a part of bow hunting, and that's a part of any hunting. Rifle hunting, I've seen so many people lose deer to poor shots with rifles. The compound guys, especially the ones just getting started that are shooting 40 and 50 yards, that are gutting shooting animals and they're running off and they're losing them. Everybody that hunts enough will have a bad experience at some point, and primitive archers are not immune. But I also believe that, and I strongly believe, that a seasoned primitive or even traditional hunter will have far less mistakes than the compound guys will, or the early traditional shooters will, simply because we know our boundaries. We know what our equipment can do. We know what we can physically do. We know how the deer is going to react. So when it comes down to it, in my opinion, the seasoned primitive archer just, you know, he is the model of ethics. You know, he's trying to get close. He's striving to make a perfect shot, and he knows how his equipment acts. It's not crude. It's not haphazard. It may be put together by different means, but it's a well-functioning set. And, you know, as I stated before, the true primitive archers are typically more experienced hunters. And when you get more experience, that also brings on better ethics.